Welcome back, everybody. It's day 7 part 2, continuation of the Liyue story quest. And I think we're approaching the last 5-star in the story quest. Now you see upcoming here, we got Ganyu. I said earlier that hey, if you can get Ganyu, pretty much rolling it, strongest character in the game. They pretty much made her too strong, so almost like every 5-star that has came after her, they have been really careful not to make it that strong. So if you don't want the game to be too easy, you can maybe not roll on her, but I mean, strongest character in the game, I'm going for her. What makes Ganyu so strong is she pretty much like shoots charge attacks, and they're just scaled way too high. Like, if you can get an ammo spell on her, that makes her really powerful. Like, it's a 5-star weapon, but even still, you don't really even need that much because she's just that powerful. Like, probably her biggest weakness is that she doesn't have a lot of health, but, you know, you can get a shielder, or you can just kind of like back away. Sometimes it's hard to aim with the controller compared to a keyboard, but there's also the Morgana team to where you don't even have to use charge attack. Plus, she's cryo, so that allows her to pair up with pyro, making melt reactions, and water, making freeze reactions to where characters can't move. So Ganyu is one of the strongest DPS characters in Genshin. And here's our last 5-star of Liyue. This is Keqing. Now, Keqing's not that strong of a unit. She's a carry or like DPS type of unit, but the problem is she's electro. Now your general, like when Genshin kind of first started, your general units are pretty much like pyros, your DPS really strong, ice really strong, hydro's kind of like the healing unit, but hydro allows you to vaporize. That's why Xinqi is so powerful. Then you have Animo, which is more of like a support unit because you got Viridescent Veneer, so you know you kind of have like the Venti. Or Kazuha, which does really well with that artifact set. But then you have the Electro element, which when Genshin first came out, I don't believe it was fully worked out. So Keqing kind of got like the not the greatest work. So she just ended up being the weakest DPS unit. When Raiden Shogun came out, she was really good, but she's also a constellation type of person to where it's like you want at least C2 on Raiden. And if you have C2 on Raiden, she does a lot of damage. If you don't have C2, she's okay, but they made it to where she like lowers people's defense and all this stuff, so she's almost not an electro unit just because of all the stuff they put in her kit. Alright, now we're getting to the end of this Liyue questline, and we're gonna get like this whole cinematic movie and everything. So, it's kind of a spoiler if you're going to like play this game yourself and you want to see what happens. So, I'm gonna go ahead and put like a timestamp on the screen. Also, I put it in the description so that way you can skip past this whole Liyue cinematic movie. So far we started battling Child here. Kind of has like that Super Saiyan ability where like he just keeps like leveling up forms, getting stronger and stronger. So right now we're on his 2nd form. Pretty much like gave us this whole like master plan, you know, classic anime villain where it's just like, yeah, this is what I was gonna do all along. And talks a little bit about like how Senora sucks, where, you know, she stole Venti's Gnosis earlier on, but you know, she just kind of ran away instead of like fighting us, so that way she didn't bring attention to herself so she could get away with that Gnosis. Where Child's the type of character where it's just like, yeah, I like to fight strong opponents, so I'd rather just fight you head on and defeat you and then complete my mission. So sees that we're a little strong and he's just like, you know what, let me just go ahead and complete my mission here. And he tries to take the Gnosis, and clearly there's nothing in there. So it's just like, oh, I see. You guys got here first, and you took it from me. Well, then I must show you my true power. And now he's about to, like, level up to his strongest form. It's pretty cool. I remember when I first saw this, I'm like, well, how come I can't have my characters do that? I want to do that.
This is going to
Now, this is kind of like the Batui's power-up system with like their things. Like, I think we have, like, the good guys have visions, they have delusions. So delusions give you a lot of power, but it makes you, it like takes away from your life or something. So unless you're like really strong, it'll most likely kill you. So it's kind of an interesting system. Alright, so pretty much we beat his ultimate form, and after that he's just like pretty exhausted because that takes a lot of power out of him. Like I told you, with the delusions, they kind of drain your energy, whereas visions, you know, just kind of give you the power of elements. So after fighting us, he was just like, well, that's a bit too much. So long story short, essentially what Child ends up doing is he uses these things called sigils of permission. That way he can awaken this water creature, so that way we have to like fight it, because he's like, well, if I don't know where the Gnosis is, that must mean that Rex Lapis is not dead. And what's the only way to probably get Rex Lapis to come to Liyue so that way I can steal the Gnosis from him? Oh, destroy the city. So let me just go ahead and summon a water creature to go and destroy that thing. So that's what he does.
That guy is fast.
So seeing that Liyue is about to get destroyed, Ningguang summons her Jade Palace to get ready to attack this water creature. Also, the other Adepti that, you know, wanted to destroy our town, they're just like, oh crap, there is a ancient water creature about to destroy the city. Well, we gotta stop that. So kind of makes it to where like everyone kind of joins forces and decides to help each other out. So what ends up happening is that Ningguang like summons some ballistas or something, so that way the Adepti can use that to like shoot lasers at this water creature. But you know, it's not going to be that simple. You know, the Traveler of course has to do something. So while they're getting prepared to shoot these lasers at this water creature, what ends up happening is the Patui end up showing up, and they're just like, yeah, you know, we don't want you to kind of destroy the water creature because, you know, we set up this giant plan for the city to get destroyed, and, you know, that's going to mess that up. So we kind of end up working with Kaching and some other people to stop the Patui from blowing up the ballista. So we kind of have like a little mini game right here, which is, you know, pretty interesting. So we end up stopping the Patui from attacking the ballistas, and by doing that, we give the Adepti enough time to fully charge the ballista weapon, because they're getting ready to shoot this very concentrated giant beam at the water creature, you know, to blow it up. And, you know, looks like it's working, because, you know, he's very mad.
It's working! We just need to keep this up!
But there is one problem. He's charging up a beam himself. Yeah, and that ends up like destroying all of the ballistas. I'm really surprised that like none of like the random humans got hit. Like they somehow just dodged all of these attacks. Especially too when like most of them are falling. Of course the Traveler gets saved, but I'm kind of wondering about these other guys that just end up falling down.
Be careful now.
Like you don't even see them.
Is destroyed. Without its covering fire, retaliation shall be difficult.
But the Jade Chamber is our last line of defense. We can't give another inch, no matter what.
I have another
And
idea.
this is why 2.4 is going to be very interesting.
I'll sacrifice the Jade Chamber. What is the meaning of this?
I understand.
Traveler.
So Ningguang decides to sacrifice her Jade Chamber, which, you know, is like really important to her. And the Adepti kind of put their power inside of it, so it ends up becoming like this giant bomb, and you know, they essentially just drop it on it, and hopefully that's enough to kill it. Yeah, that's like a nuke. And as you see, we end up saving the town. So after all that happens, the Adepti and, you know, the mortals like Ningguang and her random people, they pretty much kind of get together and they're just like, yeah, see, look, we're able to protect ourselves, and, you know, we respect you, but, you know, you don't have to give as much of a watchful eye as you used to. So they decide to not try to blow up the town. They're just like, yeah, you guys did a good job, fine, we'll let you keep doing what you're doing. And, you know, everyone kind of lives happily ever after. Now we end up going here into the bank and we find out, oh, look, Zhongli was Rex Lapis this whole time, and Signora, behind the scenes, was pretty much like orchestrating most of the stuff, where it's just like, yeah, hey, you have to give me that gnosis according to the contract. And he's just like, yeah, you're right. And he's the, you know, got a contract, so he's going to follow that no matter what. And Child's just like, wait, what happened? Like, I was doing all this work and I didn't really need to. There was this random contract. Why didn't no one tell me? And it's just like, you know, you don't matter that much. So I found it kind of funny. So fast forward a bit, and in that last thing, Zhongli kind of explains a little bit about why he had to do what he had to do, mainly because he had this contract where he watched over this town for years on end, but now the town kind of got to a point to where they could kind of handle themselves. But due to the contract, it basically made it to where he has to constantly watch over all these people, and he was thinking that, I don't really think I need to do that no more, so he kind of worked with the Fatui to set up this elaborate thing to make it look like, hey, he's dead. What would they do in his absence? Would they freak out not having someone to watch over them no more, or would they still continue on and do good? And also, the Adepti, how would they handle, you know, the main god of contracts not being there? So, it kind of worked out that Child did all this stuff because he kind of pushed everyone into a bad corner to where everyone had to work together. So Zhongli was just like, oh, well, this worked out great. But he had to give up the Gnosis, which you will find out later on how bad that is. So now we're just kind of talking with him, and he's just, you know, letting us know that, hey, we did a good job, and he appreciates all our help. And I finished the Liyue quest there. So with that, I completed the Star Approaches. That's the main Liyue quest. So now I'm going to do the Serenity Pot, but I'm gonna cut it off here, guys, because it's been running a long time, and I will talk about the Serenity Pot tomorrow for day 8. So look forward to that.